Everyone, welcome to my today's session. This is a very important session for everybody. Now, I've done something about investments, which led to many people asking questions that I would term to be very serious questions. And that is why I've been forced to come and address some of those questions in this live session. So please feel free as well to drop your questions down there, because at the end of the day, the more serious questions, I'll always pick them and provide feedback, if possible, on a live setup like this. So today, I'm going to talk about still investments, but tied together with what I've called poverty at retirement. Poverty at retirement. Most importantly is, how do we get to avoid being poor on retirement at our old age? And I would want, in this case here, to do a recap of the mathematics that I've shown you regarding investments before I come and tie that with how do we avoid being poor on our last age, last phase of our lives. So that I'll be able to share the Excel sheet here. All right. So we are looking at somebody who is investing just minimal amount here, year 1, year 2, year 3. All right. So in this case here, this person is able to invest just 10,000 shillings, just 10,000 shillings, just 10,000 shillings like that every year at the beginning of every year. At the beginning of every year. So the beginning of every year is investing 10,000 like that. All right. Now, the rate of interest, nowadays, interest rates are quite nice for investors. Let's put a rate of, say, 14%, depending on where you invest this money. So then remember, here we are looking at amount. How much will this amount to if he's investing at 14% per annum? Of course, it's compound interest. So remember, amount, from those of you who did this in high school, amount is principal into 1 plus R raised to power N, raised to power N, like that, where N is the period here. So like year 1, we can see year 1, this gentleman has invested 10,000. So the 10,000 becomes the principal amount. Times, in this case here, open brackets, we have 1 plus the rate of interest, which is 14%. And because this 14% will be used throughout, it will be very important for me to lock it up. So I lock this up with dollars, like that. And then we close brackets. And then at the end of the day, I should be able to raise these to the time here. Time like that. So time can be locked because it's a variable. So then I should be able to say Control, Enter. So I can see after 3 years, this 10,000 will be worth 11,400. 11,400. So if I come and double click here, autofill, I'm able to get the other amounts. And then at the end of the day, I will be able to come here and do what here? I'll be able to come here and get the total. So the total amount here, this will be out. So we have here alt equals. Then I'm able to sum like that, which at the end of the day then will give this gentleman how much? 39,000. Control B, which will give us 39,211. So out of this 10, he'll end up getting 39,000. So of course, he should have gotten a stock principal amount of 30, but there is what we call interest, which is on top. Now, can I use a formula in Excel, which will be able to give me this amount very fast? Oh yes, if I come and say equals future value is the function that is able to give me this kind of summation quite fast. So the rate is 14%. I'm following these narratives here. Number of periods, these are 3 years, comma. Payment, I have 10,000. So I have to say in this case here minus, because this formula recognizes that the investor is paying out. So it's a cash outflow. In finance, cash outflows, we capture them as negatives. So minus 10,000, comma, the present value on top of this 10,000, there is no any other amount that is going to put forward, no amount. So zero there. All right. So in this case here, we have the type. The type is the beginning of the period. So I'll be able to say 1 there, and then I'll be able to close brackets like that, and then I'll be able to say enter. So you can see outrightly here, we are getting 211. Which is exactly this. I've gotten this amount using a shortcut. Then I would want to use this shortcut to show you something very interesting. Let's assume we have a young man. The same example that I used last time. This young man is able to get what here? This young man is able to invest. So amount is investing per month. Amount per month is investing per month 10,000. 10,000 shillings like that. Let me just make this a bit bigger. All right. So 10,000 is what he's investing every month. Number of years, this young man is still young. He is starting to invest at the age of 25. At the age of 25. And remember, in Kenya here, we retire at 60. So in short, he'll end up investing these 10,000 Kenya shillings every month for a whole 35 years. How did I get 35? It is 60 minus 25. 60 minus 25, that gives me 35. So number of years, this person will invest for how many years? For 35 years like that. Interest rate, let's work with that 14%. So interest rate, we're working in this case here with 14%. All right. So then what I would be interested in getting is the total amount this gentleman will get as a lump sum when he retires. All right. So in this case here, then we have to change this to number of periods or number of months. Because he's investing 10,000 every month. So the number of months in this case here will be equal to, I will take here 35 years, and we know that each year has got 12 months like that. Enter 420. All right. Also, this interest, I would want it to be on a monthly basis. So this interest on a monthly basis, what do we have? The interest on a monthly basis, I will come and say here interest on a monthly basis. So this interest here will be equal to, this 14% is a whole year's interest. I have to apportion it. I have to come and divide this by what here? By 12. I must come and divide this by 12 to get interest rate per what year per month, like that. So once you give me those metrics, those parameters, then I'll be able to come and give you the lump sum amount he'll get. The lump sum amount he'll get when he retires. So when this guy retires, of course, he will come and you're using this formula. Principal is investing, in this case here, future value, the future value. We start with the rate. The rate per month is this one, comma. Number of periods, we have number of months for 20, comma. The payment, this guy, in this case here, is working with the 10,000 every month. But now remember, we must make it a negative because it's a cash outflow from the investor's side. This time it's an outflow. Of course, when we'll be receiving this money, it will be an inflow. All right. So minus 10,000, ladies and gentlemen, comma, present value. You know, there are investors who will tell you that on top of the 10,000, to get started, to kickstart this entire project, I'm putting $1 million by the side. And then on top of this $1 million, I'll be putting 10,000 like that. So there is nothing in this case like a present value amount. So in this case, this guy is coming. So 0 like that, comma. Then of course we have the investments at the beginning of the period. So 1 there. So I should be able to come and say enter. So ladies and gentlemen, you can see this question is quite an interesting question here. This is quite an interesting question here. This was quite an interesting question here. We wanted to know how much he'll get at the end of his 35 years of monthly investments of 10,000. So this gentleman will be able to get a whole 112,324,324,000 859. So in this case here, please come and compare these with his principal amount. How much will he have contributed? His principal amount will be, remember, he was paying 10,000, if you remember, 10,000, all right, times, in this case here, 420, all right? So this particular person will just contribute how much? Please look at this. If you understand this secret, you will never go wrong in life. So this person, his principal amount will be 4.2 million, but at the end of the day, he has contributed what here? Yes, out of this 4.2, the interest will be crazy. The interest will be, if I'm calculating interest here, ladies and gentlemen, the interest here will be equal to, we have this lump sum amount minus the principal amount, like that. You can see our whole 108 million is interest. Now, this is crazy. I mean, this is crazy. Now, I would want to do the same analysis where somebody in this case is investing what year? Somebody is investing 10,000. Somebody is investing 10,000. Somebody is investing 10,000 every month. All right. Assuming this person now, he does not start saving from age 25. You know, there are people basically because of lack of, fortunes here. Perhaps somebody will start his work at the age 40. Others start at age 50. So they've got 10 years to save alone. Many things here. Of course, I know there are those guys who will mess their lives up. When they are young, they still think that this youthful age will never, it's like smoke. Whether you like it or not, ladies and gentlemen, that particular phase will always come to an end. All right. So it will be very important for you to take advantage of your youthful age and save a lot. So assuming this person is getting 10,000 and is 50 years old, meaning that he'll only be able to do what you have to save for just 10 years. All right. The interest rate, of course, in this case here is exactly what we have here, which is 14%. Let me just do it slowly without number of months. So number of months in this case here, because this guy is only going to save for this 10 years. So we know that each year has got 12 months. So he's only going to save 120 periods, 120 months, quite few, because he began saving late. All right. The rate of interest, of course, will remain the same. It will be this figure. All right. Then, of course, the lump sum, let's apply this formula slowly. It's called future value. Very important calculator in Excel. So future value, the rate will be like that. You say, comma, number of periods, there are only 120, comma, payment. Remember, this will be negative. Negative what year? 10,000. Because it's an outflow. Then present value is 0. We have a comma, is making beginning of the period annuities. So 1 there, so close bracket like that. So then this guy, in this case here, will only end up getting 2 million. Will end up getting 2 million Kenya shillings. Let me just format this and remove the dollars for now. Remove the dollars for now by saying none there. So, okay, like that. So you can see the principal amount will be, he is paying 10,000 every month times how many months? Times 120. Times 120, then this gentleman will end up saving just, if you put the 1,000 separator, 1.2 million. And then, of course, in this case here, his interest will be this minus the principal amount, like that. So you'll end up getting a principal over, or rather an interest of 1.4 million alone. This alone, all right? This alone. And even if, for example, was to save for, assuming he starts saving from age 45, so he'll retire at 60. So then this person here will just save for 15 years. If you do it that way, you can see really nothing much, still 4 million. Ladies and gentlemen, it's very important that you get to start saving very early. Don't waste time. The earlier you start saving, the better for you. The better for you. So you can imagine this particular person here. For him, this guy wants to make savings there, right? If you wanted, for example, to get to this, he'll have to save a lot of money here on a month. It will be impossible for him. It will be very, very hard for him to catch up. Once you get late, it will be very, very hard. Because even if, for example, now he was to put in like 100,000 a month. So now instead of putting 10,000 a month, even if he was to put 100,000 a month, even if he was to put 100,000 a month, how much will he end up getting? Even if he was to put 100,000 a month, he will still not be able to match with this guy. This guy was making just 10,000 from age 25. This guy will go places. I mean, you can't match up with him. So even if you're to do 100,000 now a month, trying to catch up with this guy, you can't catch up with him because you can see here, he'll end up getting just this. All right. Even if he was to do, for example, 200,000 here, even if he was to do 200,000 here, what will he end up getting? So this is now the time this guy will be catching up. And remember, he's catching up, not in form of interest, he's catching up in form of what here, the principal amounts. In form of the principal amount. Interest is still way below. And ladies and gentlemen, let me be very, very honest with you today here. Let me be very, very honest with you today here. Once you reach age 45, it will be very hard for you to start saving even 100,000 a month. Even if you are earning $500,000, it will be very hard for you to do that. Why? Because at age 45, now things have started biting. This is the time you'll be very lucky if you're 45, you've never lost a brother, a sister. Not just losing them like death, but you know, there are other kind of, I mean, for example, you get like your brother, your father, these guys, for example, they have become pure alcoholic. What does it mean? That you have to take some of their responsibilities. All right. So once you start hitting some age, it becomes very, very hard for you to, I mean, there are so many things that will be beckoning, looking after this lump sum amount you're getting. All right. So what is my point? My point, because I teach at RCM College and I teach certified public accountants. Please, I'm making a humble plea to you. Start saving very, very early. Stop wasting opportunities. Stop seeing that 10,000 that you go and give to a club like every other day over weekends like I see. Please, don't look at that amount, 10,000 just like that. Look at what we call opportunity cost. That 10,000 cumulatively, time value of money, cumulatively, if you're to save it the way you guys are religiously taking that, I'm not saying that you don't take. If it's full to you, no problem. But please do it at a very, very low scale, moderation. To me, because I've dealt with old people, given the kind of consultants that I do, all right? I go to speak in this case to some pensioners. People are crying. Because once you retire, you've hit 60, I mean, that is when opportunistic diseases they start coming in. All right. That is the time when you need a lot of money. Don't be cheated with this thing that the moment you hit 60, that now you have been able to pay most of your life expenses like taking children to school. No. The older you become, the more the money you need. That is why developed nations like America, actually, they don't talk about retirement, right? That's why we get in this case here, for example, even their presidential candidates, I mean, these are grandfathers. They believe in working for many, many years, and they save a lot. They save a lot. That is the most important thing. They save a lot. So to avoid poverty at old age, it will be very, very important for you to ensure that you start saving early, very early. And how do you get to save this early? If you are fortunate and you happen to get a job, what should you do? Tell your employer there, put a standing order with your employer. Give him instructions that if you're paying me, say, 50,000 a month, please get 10,000 shillings off my payslip and transfer this money to this particular money market fund. Transfer this money to this particular special what year, for example, account, will be a SACCO account. All right. Transfer this money, I mean, You know, this money, once it hits your account, once it comes directly to you, every other person outside here has got a way of knowing that Ahura today has money, and they will ask for that money, and we are good-hearted. So at the end of the day, you will end up splashing your livelihood out there. And when you come home, when you retire, and unfortunately you happen to retire a poor man, people all over will be, in this case here, gossiping, backbiting, saying in this case here that this guy had all the opportunities, he was working at KRA, he was doing this and this, and he never made anything out of what his workplace. Nothing. Just come home poor. Now, ladies and gentlemen, at this juncture, I would want to show you something very, very important here. I don't know whether there is anybody who has ever been to these CBK pension towers. CBK pension towers. CBK pension towers. So I'll be able to, I wish I could get a bigger photo. We shall overcome. Now, if you look at that CBK pension towers photo, it's leaning. It is leaning, yes. Let me just pick it the way it is here. Yeah, if you go near KRA, you'll be able to see, in this case here, Times Tower, and then we have the pension towers, the CBK pension towers. Quite a strong base down there. They sit on a very, very strong base. And then you can see this pension tower is bending, somehow bending. If you look at the inspiration, the architect who did this gave, the inspiration, what inspired him to draw this kind of a structure. He says that he drew this kind of a structure thinking, having in mind of this old person at the age of 60, 70, who is now bending because of what age. It doesn't matter how strongly you're walking, I can see you there today. Today you can wear very great, big, high-heeled shoes and you're able to walk straight. One day you shall retire. You shall bend. So if you don't have a strong base here, given what you are doing during your youthful age, you really, really suffer. When I look at those twin towers, there are two of them. One is leaning on the other side, bending to the other side. The other one is bending on this other side, looking opposite of the other one. What I'm able to imagine, I don't know whether that is the architect had in mind, I'm able to see like a couple. At that old age, chances are Mama will be facing the other side. You'll still be staying together, but Mama will be facing the other side and Papa will be facing the other side. It will be quite sad, especially for the man. If that happens, and Mama, in most cases, will go with kids. The kids can even say, Mama, now we are in America, come and give us a visit. So Papa, you think it is 2-3 months, and then that lady goes even for 5 years. If you never saved very well, I'm seeing people outside here who are 70 years old, who had very good jobs earlier on, who cannot afford Panadol. Who cannot afford Panadol? So in this case here, my cry to everybody here, let us save. At these younger ages, let us save. Let's not compete with anybody regarding like what we are wearing. Let's be modest in everything that we are doing. The most important thing, and I would want to be modest, is saving. And when you are saving, and ensure that you are doing a forced saving, where you are giving standing orders at your employer, you are giving standing orders at your banks, for this money is here to be taken away from you to special places where you cannot reach that money easily. You can't reach that money easily. And when you are saving, for example, for your pension, we have got what we call pension, we've got what we call provident fund. You see, provident fund, when you retire, you'll be able to get the entire amount, all of it at once. That's provident fund. But pension, remember, you can only access a lump sum of a third. And then the 2/3 will be given to you as annuities. We call them annuities, like on a monthly Again, I would recommend, even if you have a provident fund, never withdraw. Go and buy what we call annuities, and you'll come to thank me a lot, especially if you buy this. Buy annuities. But you can take that provident fund amount, like half of it, put in government bonds. But ladies and gentlemen, please listen. Retirement is a very, very special phase of your life. That is why I would want all of us to have what we call a pension. Don't tell me that I have invested in a building. At that age, in this case, you will hear like, God forbid, one of your sons has got this bad disease, and you'll be told you have to sell a house to go and help this guy. Of course, you have done something noble. You've sold your house like that. But things happen. I would rather have something that is very well protected. We have the Retirement Benefits Authority, which protects these pensioners in a way that, I mean, you'll be able to get, let's be very wise here. Let's look at our fathers. Like my father right now is about 80 years old. He served in the military for about 30 years. This mzee has made investments here and there. But if there is anything that he is very proud about, it is his pension of about 16,000 Kenya shillings. He retired a long time ago. So his pension is not very nice. And right now he's a bit sickly because of age issues, age-related diseases here. So when he gives, for example, like my mother now, he's 80 and he's very, very, I mean, it's not something that he can ever miss. So when he takes this ATM and on the pension day, he gives this ATM to my mother to go and withdraw. I mean, he's so excited. And yet he's not getting a lot of money out of this pension. He gets a lot from his rental properties and he gets from pension. But this pension excites him most. So why am I giving you this real life situational stories? I would want us to succeed at our old age. And remember, at our old age, you can say that you have only succeeded if the amount you'll be getting out of your passive income, like from pension, now when pension gives you money at the end of every month, then that is passive because you're not actively looking for that money. All right. We can only say that we are successful if that passive income will be at least 75% of our very last salary. So if the last salary was 100,000, then after I retire, I should be getting 75,000 and above. Otherwise, if it goes down to 2,000 or to 16,000, like in my father's case, and he was earning good monies, then you will really be a depressed retiree. So I'll be doing another video basically today where I'll be able to advise you guys which sources, which avenues should you be utilizing to invest these 10,000 and which money market funds are the very, very best. And then I'll ensure that I'll call money market fund companies to come and partner with me in making these presentations like that. Of course, when you're using a money market fund, which is short-term investments, when you're making, that should not be your permanent investment vehicle. No. You use this, it's like a basket. So this basket, once in this case it's full, I should be able to get that money and take it to a long-term investment vehicle. And take it, in this case here, for example, to government bond, have some real properties, although I don't really encourage people going like rental big time. No. Rental income is never passive. Rental income is active because, as I always tell you, I've met a landlord chasing after a tenant on the road. A tenant who had refused to pay him rent. Is that what we call, passive means that I'm not working and yet I'm getting my money. Ladies and gentlemen, interest is what we call the eighth wonder, especially if it is long time associated. When you do it over a long time, then you will really succeed. Thank you. Please continue in this case here subscribing to my channel. Ask in this case here as many questions down there as possible so that we can have an engaging conversation. But most importantly, take your teacher, take your Mwalimu International by sharing my content. Thank you very much and bye-bye. Bye.